Hello, everybody. This is Richard Weil, and I'm the principal and owner of National Restaurant Consultants. And today, we're doing a little bit of celebrating some good news today because it's our 50th NRC Helpful Moment. And I wanted to just take a moment to thank everybody who's been watching us for these approximately 10 weeks of videos. Today, we have all but one of our consulting team members on our video today. I'm going to ask each one a particular question about what's been in their mind on some of the things that we've been doing on the videos, but more importantly, a directed question to them. I'm joined today by, of course, Mr. Brian Devine from Top Line Management and Cafe Fuel, who'll be his video show in a minute. And then Mr. David Kinchlow, our president, is joining us as well. Jared Flowers, our vice president from the Phoenix market, is with us as well today. Sandy Clark, one of our senior consultants, has joined us, as well as James Rinker is a senior consultant from the Seattle market. So all three of our offices are represented here today. And again, I want to thank everybody for their positive responses to our videos. We've had a reach, we're probably well over the 50,000 person level that we've reached, and we continue to grow the information that we're sharing. So Dave Kinchlow, I'm going to start with you. I think part of what we're seeing out here with restaurateurs is the word leadership. And you as our president of the company, what's your take in terms of what you think restaurateurs and both managers and owners in terms of leadership? What comes to your mind?
I think as we go into opening here of our restaurants have been closed for about 10 weeks, I think we'll find that our staff is going to be a little uptight. They're not really sure what to expect. Things have changed. Maybe the menus changed. Maybe the seating charts have changed. You know, how we're going to bring orders out to our guests is going to change. And so even though there may be staff that you've had for a while, things are going to be different and they're going to feel uptight. Our guests, on the other hand, already know what they're getting into. You know, it's been on the news enough that, you know, there's going to be social distancing. You have to avoid, you know, congregating together before you get your tables. Here in Colorado, you're not going to be able to have a party more than 8. So all of our guests are really going to know that. So from a leadership standpoint, I think the biggest thing is to lead our staff by example. That means that you should spend as a manager, an owner, an assistant manager, or just even a key holder. You just need to be out on the floor almost all the time. You know, making sure that you're talking with the guests. You're out there and touching the tables continuously, making sure everything is okay. And specifically that you're following all of the safety guidelines that you've put in place yourself. The one thing you're going to have to do is continually give positive feedback back to all of your staff members, more so than normal. It's just so important that they know that you're doing a good job and they're going to be back in the swing of things soon. You know, it's just that positive, continuous encouragement. And kind of set all these guidelines as to what you want them to do ahead of time. I think a big thing is to try to, you know, you're all going to be back together for the first time as a staff, and you really should make a concerted effort that after you close the restaurant for the first time is maybe get the entire staff together for kind of a little celebration to say, hey, we're all back together again, you know, again, compliment about how they're dead. And just celebrate, you know, that we're all back. I think that's kind of a big thing from a leadership standpoint. I mean, there's all other kinds of issues that you have as being an owner and a manager that you're going to have to address through this whole thing. But when you get your whole staff together, I think that these are some of the key points I think you should really focus on.
That's outstanding. Celebrate as a leader. Jared Flowers, our vice president. Jared, you've coined the phrase here recently, and we've heard it before, the industry of happy. I'd like you to weigh in on that a little bit as you share with our listeners and our customers and clients across the country. The industry of happy, your thoughts there.
You know, it's a pleasure to be here. And really, as we watch all the restaurants that are open across Arizona, you know, one of the things that's really important that we're seeing just all over the place is that Corona is mine. It's still a virus. It's not over. Um, but while we have to be diligent and while we still have to be in the restaurant business of doing that for a really long time by itself. So we don't want to ignore the fact that Corona safety and sanitation protocols, and we need to make all of our guests, staff feel safe and be safe. But it cannot run our businesses. They don't want to have fun. They want to be happy. They want to forget about Corona for all intents and purposes. So let's do all the things we know that we need to do, but let's still have a good time with our guests and not still make them feel like they're on pins and needles when they walk through the door. That's what's going to bring our industry back faster than so many others. You know, people want to gather. People want to have a libation. They want to share a meal. They want to share a story. They want to being homeschooled. We need to provide that fun, and we need to provide that happy, and not to go see stick. So I think it's important. While we need to keep it top of mind, and we need to remember that we are the industry of happy, and we are the industry of fun. We will come back stronger than ever, faster than ever, and the country what we're made of.
Thank you, Jared. That's outstanding. I'm going to turn to Sandy here. And Brian, if you want to go ahead and put you and James up, that would be great. Sandy Clark, our senior consultant here, who is a supply chain expert and a leader in her own rights, having managed so many different hundreds and thousands of people in her career. Sandy, I'd like you to maybe talk a couple seconds worth of maybe just not just a little bit about supply chain, but the human resource and the human touch as well as what needs to happen there. So if you would please, a couple of minutes on that. Thank you, Sandy.
Sure. So if you've been open for takeout, or if you've talked to another restaurateur who has been open through this, you already know that your food service distributor is not supplying the kind of service that you grew used to before the pandemic closures. So they are victims of the supply chain issues. And it's especially evident in protein and exacerbated by the closure of several big processing plants due to COVID-19. So processed protein has become very expensive and supply is iffy. And you may get frozen product when you wanted fresh. As you deal with delivery inconsistencies, you're also going to deal with some pricing spikes all over the place. So the best example I can give of this is the CME cheese block market that drives cheese pricing into food service. So in April, when milk and cheese were plentiful, this indicator tanked down to $1.10 a pound. This week, it's back up to $1.90 a pound. So these changes can happen quickly. You really need to keep your eye on your menu, both what you're serving and your pricing, to make sure that you're covering your costs completely. So disposable daily menus and digital menus are great tools for this. So your employees, as David said, really look to you to be the leader, to lead them with confidence and communicate consistently with them. Have an ear to listen to their issues. You'll need to be flexible. You'll need to be creative. And remember, there are resources out there. The restaurant associations and your food service sales rep will both have a lot of information to help you get through this.
Thank you, Sandy. Those are great pieces of advice. James Rinker, a senior consultant from the Seattle market, and really where the COVID-19 in the United States kind of started with its first outbreak was up your way, James. sanitation and safety, some of the things that you'd like to spend a couple minutes here and just remind our listeners and viewers as far as the importance of the guidance and following those pieces on the perception of safety and sanitation, please.
Sure, Richard. COVID-19 restaurant cleanliness and sanitation is only going to be looked at with a greater intensity and focus by local authorities and inspectors, but also by employees and guests even more so. We are seeing, we're going to see two movements in restaurants as they open to on-premise dining. The younger and some older guests with the thought of, if I get it, I get it. And then the second guests will be more careful, observant. They'll be looking at restaurants' websites and media to see what are they going to be doing to protect their staff and me if I visit them. And they're going to come in to make sure that they're actually exceeding state guidelines and county guidelines, or even exceeding them. The main focus, everyone will continue to be on hand washing, healthy team members and their temperatures, not just sanitizing, but disinfecting food contact surfaces and touch points. Disinfecting will be increasingly more important. We've always been taught to sanitize. Well, disinfecting is going to be the new trend I see coming up. And, we're going to have, of course, we're seeing in certain areas, already doing the social distancing, wearing masks in some areas. It's kind of spread out across the nation of what people are doing based upon their states. And here in Oak Harbor, we just went to phase 2, and that allows 50% dine in. And, that's actually starting to save some restaurants that were looking to close. So, the focus, again, to bring those diners in is to give them the sense of safeness and that, hey, come visit us. We have a safe staff and we're going to keep you safe. And that's going to be the trend that's going to have to be communicated to all their potential guests and all their current guests. And that even goes with takeout as well.
That's a great segue, because communication is marketing, and marketing is our dear friend, Mr. Brian Devine from Top Line Management. Brian, take us home here today.
Oh, happy to. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. This has been obviously a big deal to get to 50 of these helpful moments, so I'm happy to be a part of it. Let's just cover the 3 basic things that I want every restaurant owner thinking about. And that is, number 1 is that you have to be building your list. Number 2 is that you have to build all of that through trust. Trust is going to be a very big deal. It's a huge word in the market right now, and you need to be thinking about building that trust between you and your staff and you and your customers. And then finally, how do you do all this and stay top of mind, have people thinking about you? Utilize video every chance you get. So when I say building your list as number 1, we have ways to automate all this. Even if you don't have any way to automate it, if you just start writing down information like people's names, their emails, their phone numbers, you want that information, you want that data so that you can reach out to the people who are already showing they like you and trust you over and over again to remind them about you. And it's not that people are forgetting about you, it's that you think about you all the time, they don't. So when you remind them, it's very, very helpful. Use the word trust in your marketing. I can't stress this enough. Everyone's kind of shaking their heads. We are in this very strange world, and for them to come to you, they have to trust you. And in order to help build that trust easily, use video. That's number 3. Video is a beautiful way for you to build that trust, for you to be able to look right into a camera, which makes it feel like they're looking directly at you, and you can build that rapport. And when people don't know what to expect, they tend to hesitate and not do things. With video, you can show them exactly what to expect. And that video can be put on your website. It can be put on social media. It can be put everywhere so that people will know what to expect. They'll feel much more comfortable and confident coming to you than someone else. So those are the 3 big ones. Richard, did we round it out today?
You did great. And I'm going to just finish it off here by saying we started this Like I said, this is our 50th. I want to thank each one of our team. I don't know if you can rotate some pictures in or not before everybody leaves, but I want to rotate everybody in. We have really been, it's our privilege. It's been our pleasure to be part of these helpful moments. I want to thank Dave and Jared and Sandy and James and Bob, and of course, Brian Devine. We've had incredible guests from Felix Maeta in Philadelphia to we've had guests in Arizona, California, Florida, Texas, all over the United States, Chicago, Wisconsin. So it's been a true privilege to bring these. We're planning on staying on. We're not going away. Tomorrow we have the former CEO and chairman of the board of Brinker International, Mr. Doug Brooks, will be joining us tomorrow. I'm very thrilled to have him on. So we've got some great people still to come on. So that's it for today. I know we went a little long. We're probably coming up on 15 minutes there. That's it for our number 50 helpful moment. So bye for now, everybody. Wave. Come on, guys. Wave, Dave. There we go. Thank you all. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Jared.